Ed here, lessons from my mentor. This is another one that's an amalgamation from many. So I can't give specific credit to any one person, but things I've learned along the years. And I'm talking about this again because this is probably the second time I've touched on it in the series of lessons from my mentors, because I get these calls all the time. So sadly, in some respects, the nature of the CIO role or senior executive roles is kind of volatile. And so there's a lot of change. And you may be humming along in your career and suddenly there's a change that you did not anticipate. And so there's this sense of panic, right? And you do the right thing. You call your network like, hey, Ed, or hey, Sherry, Joe, whoever, I'm in this situation, can you help me out? What words of advice do you have? Do you know of anything that's out there as a possibility for me for employment, those sort of things? I'm happy to take those calls. I take them all the time. And so keep them coming. I'm here for you because I've been there and other people have been there for me. So I get it. But it makes me sad when I have to start from ground zero with many people because they haven't thought about this situation maybe happening to them. And even if it's not a surprise, even if it's not you're no longer employed here, even if it's something that you've thought more about, like in your future, this applies as well. So there's just some basic things that you should be doing. And these things are good to do anyways. It shouldn't be done for the sole purpose of what if this happens to me? But they're just good practices in general. So, it's all about your branding. So again, there's a whole thing. One of my first lessons from my mentor, I think, is on branding. Is like, you brand or be branded. So for those of you who are like, I'm not branding, that means you're stuck up or whatever. No, or egocentric. No, it doesn't. You have a brand. Do you want to control it or not? So if you're not controlling it, someone else is controlling your narrative. All right. So you have a brand. So take charge of it. Make it the brand that you believe represents you. So figure out what that brand is and then do everything you can to reinforce it. Reach out to your network always. So don't wait for that crisis moment, because I don't know that everyone's going to pick up the phone. So when you reach out to people, and if it's the first time you've reached out to them in years, you may find yourself in a lurch. And that's the other thing too. And again, I keep this very generic, but I can't tell you how many people I have helped or I have been connected with, and I reach out just in general and they ghost me, right? It happens to everyone. So there's certain people, you may be that person who, when people reach out to you, you ghost them. You don't interact with them. I don't know why, but for some reason you don't interact. Then all of a sudden the crisis hits and you're like, hey, and then you wonder why they don't pick up the phone. So don't ghost people. So that's the other thing. And no matter what role they're in. So it was funny, right? When I was a CIO, I didn't get ghosted often from other CIOs. So when I moved to the vendor partner side, I got ghosted all the time. Even people who I've helped tremendously in their careers. That kind of like, I always give grace and stuff, so I don't judge. I get angry, take it personal. But I'm just telling you, if you're that person, you need to change, because there's going to kind of come a time when you're going to need that network. And if you ghosted people, not everyone is going to be full of grace to take your call. So don't ghost people. Just treat everyone with respect. I knew a lot of people who went from CIO to the vendor side, and they would come through town and I would meet with them. I didn't ghost them. So don't do that, because you're going to need those people. So reach out all the time, connect with people all the time. Don't wait for a crisis. That is the main point. And I bet you to guess, probably 80% of people are sort of wired that way, where they don't reach out intentionally. They just wait for a crisis. Don't be that person. And again, as I said at the beginning, it's just going to help you in your career to just be super connected, because I'm always learning from people. Always learning from people. So reach out to search firms as well. So have a relationship with search firms now. Don't wait for that crisis. Same reasoning. They're going to be like, who are you? You're that person that never responded to me when I reached out. Don't be that person. Develop a relationship with the search firms. I always learn from them. They help me with my resume. They help me with career guidance. There's one person who became like my mom, and I mean that endearingly, and she knows who she is, and she's just the most amazing, wonderful woman. And she helped me so much, like over 20 some years of my career. So work with them now and develop relationship with them now, because you'll never know. Work hard on your resume and your LinkedIn profile. Don't wait till you're in crisis to do something. You should always be updating. Look at other people's resumes and LinkedIn profiles and see what you like and don't like. And then one of my hacks, is just go to some place like Fiverr, Fivvr. If you've never been there, I use Fiverr for so many different things for the last decade. And I even did it for my LinkedIn profile a couple times and my resume. For very little money, you could have a professional who's done tons of these look at your site, and give you advice. Doesn't mean you have to take it all. In fact, I got a lot of ideas for my resume and I made little changes. I didn't take their whole redo of my resume, but I took some of the changes that they suggested. And I did the same with my LinkedIn profile. So you should do it now. And, maybe make it like you get a physical on a regular basis. Maybe make it a regular practice, like at least yearly, you should do that. Improve your visibility on socials. This is another big one. And I've seen some of you have reached out to me, and I just love what you're doing. I see it, and I think it's emboldened your brand. And when that time comes, whether intentional or not, you're going to hit it big time because you're making these investments now. Success doesn't come overnight, one of those quotes. So improve your visibility on socials. So it doesn't have to be all of them, TikTok and Instagram and all that kind of stuff, but definitely LinkedIn, you should be adding content, add some original content as well as, commentary and things like that. And LinkedIn makes it so easy, right, to be an expert voice, and you should really take advantage of it. Plus, again, like I said at the top, all these things will help you because, man, if you were to start blogging, let's just say you use, I think they call them articles. Let's just say, your goal is once per month, which is fine. That's plenty. Once per month to put out an article. The level of, because of the research you're going to have to do and the thinking, it's just going to help you become a better leader, a better person. And avoid AI when you do this. I saw my friends out there, and I love you guys. I can see right through it, man. It's all AI and it's like boring. I won't even read it. I can tell there's no heart and soul in it. There's nothing wrong with leveraging AI to help you, get some ideas and some content, but man, it is so painful, obvious. So watch out. And then remain active. And then the other thing is, get as many experiences as you can. A lot of times we don't seek other experiences because people always wonder, like, where do you get all these stories? And this probably should be a second part, but I'll just try to be quick on it. Where do you get all these stories? How do you get all these adventures, all that kind of stuff? So look for other experiences to do stuff because it just strengthens your ability to tell a story. And when it comes time for that job, you have this other sort of angle, like, because you volunteered and you could bring in the stories of volunteering and how it changed you and how to give you a broader perspective. So do stuff, that's meaningful. Don't just be like all work focused and then you have got your family, which is awesome and highest priority, but leave some space in there to do some other things, and you can combine family to do those things. And I've talked about that before. So definitely so really, again, the main point here is be intentional, be active, do not be reactive, be proactive, because it's your career that you're talking about. And then the other emphasis that I made is don't ghost people. It's just bad form. And those are the people that you might need one day.